Hey, what's happening, everybody? Just getting people in the room. Welcome, welcome. Welcome, welcome. It's a beautiful Monday. I don't got a voice, but all right, cool. I'm gonna read from Wisdom for Winners and then we'll get jamming, guys. So welcome to BA coaching. I can't tell you what BA stands for, but it's good stuff. So glad you guys are here. All right, cool. Let me see. I'm gonna make hey Julian, you're here, right? I'm gonna make you co-host so you can get some people in the room as they jump in. That's
Alright,
cool.
I
You the
got you.
man. Julian looks good in those glasses.
Yeah, I'm going blind.
All right. Let me see. Let me see. I have little notes throughout all these, but just want to find a solid one. All right. So I'm just gonna read a few of these. It says many of us make the same mistakes in our personal and professional lives, which I can attest to. We assume that the future is limited by the past and our capacity cannot be stretched or expand. And then it goes on to say, we often fail to look forward to the future and explore how we can make tomorrow bigger and better than today. And then our past is useful to learn from and build upon, but history should never be used to define the future. Realize that each day starts a blank page, make it count. And so I wrote at the end of that, like, God help me write my story every day. And so I think it's just a good reminder, guys, that your past doesn't define you, anything like that. And it's a new day every day. And you get to take advantage of it. You don't have to let the past define you. So cool. Glad you guys are all on here. I'm gonna be going over some I want to know actually I did this at the beginning of our coaching. I know a lot of you guys haven't been on here. All y'all haven't been on here as long, but I want you guys to throw in like how many deals are you guys trying to do this year? So go throw in the chat. Don't be afraid of that number. Just throw in the chat how many deals you guys want to do. 25, okay? 40, There's no so let me hear in the chat. Got another 40, 36, 40, 50, 30. Let's go. Keep throwing them in there. If you can't throw it in front of a chat in front of most people you don't know, it's probably gonna be hard to do it in real life. So keep throwing it on there. We got 15. Cool. Awesome. Love it. Love it, love it, love it. All right. Bam. Got some good numbers in here. Awesome. All right, sweet. I think I think it's important to understand, like, kind of starting with the end in mind, like what is it that you want? And it's beyond the number of deals you want to do too, right? So now I want you to throw in there how much money do you guys want to make? Right. Because you could do 20 deals and make a lot of money, or you could do 20 deals and not make a lot of money. So how much actual money do you guys want to make? Throw in the chat. 400K, 100K, 250. Let's go. Keep throwing them in there. 200. Got some good numbers in here. Let's go. Love it. Love it. Love it. Love it. Awesome. Yeah. No, I think it's important to beyond just like how many transactions do I want to do, but how much money do I actually want to make? 300K. Love that, Hector. Cool. 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 And it's not so much about, for me, it's not always about the money. Money's just a tool. Money just amplifies who you already are. And if you're a bad person, it's gonna amplify amplify that, and if you're a good person, it's gonna amplify that, and so money doesn't define you. None of those things define you. It's just your goals. It's just things that you want, like one of the things I want to be able to do one day is write $1 million check, like for it to a nonprofit, just like stroke that $1 million check and have it be nothing, right? So I think it's important to understand, like, okay, your goals, all the things you want. Now, for those of you guys who have been, I know there's a lot of new people on the call, but those who have been with us, so this is our fourth BA coaching call. But I think today's call is gonna be very timely and effective. Let me do this. Yay, coaching. Bam. All right, here's the coaching notes. So we've done three of these, and the first one we went over the seller survey, right? Or I guess this is technically our fourth, right? The first one was like kind of just goal setting, kind of letting you guys know what this was going to be about. It kind of evolved a little bit more than I thought. I thought it was going to be a little bit of a smaller group, but we still, we got a great community of people jumping in, which I love. The first one was like, did you actually the survey, right? The seller and buyer survey, the same survey that, I had a girl named Judy run that she ended up landing 4 listings from a database of 500 people and she maybe knew 50 people, right? So that was like the first piece of the coaching was executing that. The second thing was actually the vendor program, which is one of my favorite things that I've ever done because the vendor program has given me a lot of freedom to be able to spend more money than I had on advertising, and it allowed me to move faster. And so it's going finding like lenders and title and insurance and mortgage and financial advisors and all those other people to help pay for your ad. So I went over extensive coaching with that, and to be able to, instead of spend $300 a month, spend 500,000. I mean, I have a lender that pays me $1,500 a month. I have a lender that pays me, you know, I have a builder that pays me $1,500 a month. So to be able to take other people's money and go do that, like go be able to go spend more money on your marketing and not be bottlenecked by, your ad spend. And then the third thing that we went over was ads and how to get your cost per lead down. Me and Jimmy did that last week, and going over, instead of spending, instead of having an $8 to $9 to $10 an ad spend, having guys in our community are getting things down to like $4, right? So if you like just those three things alone, if you guys would have executed each one of those things per week, I'm just curious, like, where your business would be. Now, out of those three things that I mentioned, now not everybody was on the call for all those, but some of you have been. Out of all those things, who I want you to put how many of them you have actually executed to this date. Like, how many of you guys have sent out the seller survey? So it'd be 1 for 3, 2 for 3, or 3 for 3, right? Like you've done, or 0 for 3, right? So you've done the seller survey, you're like 1 for 3. You've done the vendor guide, 2 for 3. You've done the ads, 3 for 3. And it doesn't matter which one you've done, but if you've done any of them, just put it in the chat how many of you've done. And if it's 0 for 3, it's 0 for 3. But you got to be honest with where you're at. 1 for 3, okay. 1 for 1, 0 for 3, 0 for 3. Where we at? Where we at? I don't see them. 2 for 3, 0 for 3, 0 for 3. First call, 0 for 3. All right, all right, cool. No, I mean, and so I'm going to give you guys the recordings of all the ones I've done, and hopefully you go back and get them. But my point with this, guys, is that it does not do any good to come to the coaching class and come to all this stuff and then not actually execute what you learn. Like, it doesn't do you any good. And so I'm going to give you guys, I believe, some skills today to be able to help you actually execute what we teach, because it's like, man, I can give you the keys to the Ferrari, but unless there's gas in there, it ain't going nowhere, right? And so I can't put drive in you guys. I can't put discipline in you guys. Like, that's something that you guys have to desire. Like, I can't put that desire in you guys. You guys have to want that. And so it's like, what can I do? How can I help that? Like, I can't put the desire, but I think I can give you guys some tools to help you uh be able to execute some of this stuff. So I'm gonna go through some strategic strategy to be able to do them. And then, for me, it's like I'm gonna throw in the chat at the end all the coaching notes. So there's 3 coaching notes: the seller survey, the vendor guide, and then the ads, how to get your costs down to like $5. So I'm gonna put all those in the chat at the end so that you guys can save those and then go back through the coaching notes and the recordings and put it in your calendar so you guys can get some of those things done. So I think that'll be really, really important. All right. Um,
Hell yeah.
yeah,
I'm here,
let's
brother.
go. Let's go. What's up, Jimmy? All right, let me pull up these
What
slides real quick. No, you're good.
some good wins earlier?
I didn't throw any wins. Actually, yeah,
Oh,
that would be good. I know,
yeah,
I
let's
know.
do that.
Let's get some wins in there. I
Yeah,
was,
we want to hear about the wins, man. Come on, where are the wins?
I was kind of making everybody feel bad for a second. Okay. Let me get
Damn,
your guys'
I don't
wins.
you
I
gotta at
know,
least
I know.
build
I
them
went
up
straight for
before
the
you
I
break
went
them
straight
down,
for the
yeah? Shoot.
jugular. Straight for the jugular. Just what? Let's get some wins. Who's got some wins? Just got my first funnel started, have 13 leads already. Let's go, Jennifer. That's a win. Love it. What else? What other wins you guys got?
I see Dan. Dan, what's your update?
What's my update? Let's see. I got 6 deals closed in 3 months, and I got 4 more pending.
Let's go, Dan. You remind me of like Florida man. I like it, dude. Just
That's where I'm at right now.
let's
He
go,
is the
dude.
Florida man, dude.
Go.
That's
Some
Mr.
new
Florida.
first.
So
Pitbull is Mr. MIA. Dan is Mr. FLA.
that's it.
Awesome, awesome. Cool. I love that. That's a great update. What other wins you guys got in there? Any other wins? Winning? You can throw it in the chat. You can unmute real quick. What other wins you guys got?
So I have a question. Has
Yes,
anybody
sir.
on this has anybody on this call, do you have listings that have been on the market for more than 60 days?
I'm sure there's a lot of people.
Well, I tried something different a couple of months ago at the beginning of December, which in our market is usually, kind of the worst time of year to be selling. And a lender that I work with, American Pacific Mortgage, put together a program where sellers rather can purchase rate locks on financing to offer to buyers that want to buy their home. For $1,000 approximately, you can purchase a rate lock for any rate you want. But we purchased on 2 listings that I had that were over 100 days, purchased rate locks for 4.75% to offer to buyers. Now, for that $1,000, that meant that I and that lender could advertise that 4.75 rate. And for those of you on the call that, into the new construction funnel and use that, one of the highlights of that funnel, as I understand it, is the fact that, and I was looking at the stats, and in my area, the new home builders were moving the merch pretty well. I wasn't. My sellers are calling me up. You're a bum. What are you doing? Why don't you go out there and walk around naked with a for sale sign up and down the street? I said, why don't we improve the attractiveness of your offer? Well, how are we going to do that? I said, well, people today are really concerned about affordability. And, there's 2 ways to approach that when you have a listing that isn't moving. 1, you can drop the price until you get action. 2, you can buy this rate lock and offer 4.75% financing fixed for 30 years with with the purchase of your home. And what happened, you might ask? Within days, I'd had no showings for weeks. I had 8 showings on one. I had 6 on the other. On one, we had 2 offers, competing offers immediately. On the other, we eventually ended up with 3 offers sequentially. Not everything goes perfectly all the time, but I closed one last week, and I have another one under contract to close within 30 days. So it works. And
Let's go.
Yeah.
So I got a question to
That's
ask.
great.
What state are you in to offer that? And is that all 50 states to offer almost like that's almost a 1.5 basis points?
Right. Well, at the time, the rates around here. I'm in Washington State, by the way.
Okay.
And around here, the rates were about 6.35 for 30-year fixed. And now, if the seller, here's a trick to it though. The seller doesn't actually have to accept any offers to provide that 4.75 rate. And there are conditions for the buyers to have to meet in order to get that rate, credit, a DTI, and so on. But once you buy that rate lock, you can advertise a low rate, below 5% as a tagline, and this attracts attention more, in my experience, than price drops. And
Agreed.
but to get that rate, that 4.75 rate, if the seller wanted to actually provide it, they would have to pay up to 6% of the loan amount, not the purchase price, to buy down the rate. And that rate could be used for any financing program,
So is it
conventional.
$1,000 plus the 6%?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, that's a great strategy. I love that for that specific listing. That's awesome. Yeah, I mean, there's all kinds of other offers that you can leverage, whether it's the new construction lenders saying, hey, they got 10 and 50 and $70,000 by, when you work with our builders to save, that much money with incentives. You could talk to a lender. I think a good way to re-engage your database of like people who haven't responded to your leads would be have a lender, get a lender to be like, hey, I'll buy down everybody's rate down to a point, right? Or your top 5 clients a point. And then you just go to Attract ROI, go to your past clients and send a personal message saying, hey, John, I just talked to my lender and I thought about you. He's willing to buy down your rate to 1% or 1%, buy down your rate by a point. How much could that, how much money would that save you this year? He's only willing to do it for like 3 or 4 people. Are you free for a quick call? Right. And so that would be like, just a way to re-engage your entire database of maybe stale leads or leads you haven't responded or whatever. There's a lot of different strategies to do that, but I love that, Jim. That's a great one. Cool. All right. I'm going to dive into, go
Well,
ahead.
hang on. One more. Julia, can you talk? I want to hear about this listing and bot, because I'm assuming it's from the new construction funnel, right? Are you available?
Yeah, I'm here. Sorry about that, Jimmy. Yeah, actually, what happened was, Station and I've been doing a lot of videos, and we had this lady contact us through, the funnel. And we've been messaging, and she's buying a house, looking for a new home build. And so is her daughter. They both want to move up closer to Lavon and have houses to sell. So technically, it's 2 listings and 2 homes, and so we've been working with them and getting them pre-qualified and things like that. So that was a quick hit. I think we spent $11 to get that.
Go.
So there you go. Yeah.
Was new construction funnel?
New construction funnel, yes, right. And, we didn't have our videos up in front of those yet, Jimmy, because I've been editing and doing all kinds of stuff, and now the weather hit, but, we gotta get back to it. I'm gonna turn them all back. I paused them, but I'm gonna turn them back on, you right? So, but yeah, we quickly got 2 hits with $11, and there you go. Oh, that's
So
probably
you're,
$1
so
million
your
stayed over a million, probably 1.5 million, right? So
so your cost to acquire customer was
yeah, for transactions. There you go. Was 250 a piece?
wow,
Yeah.
Cool. Love it, guys. Love it. Love it.
good
Nice
job.
work. Nice work. And then just real quick, we don't have the link yet, but we are doing, it sounds like we're doing a 2-day event on the 17th and 18th of March. It's going to be in Tampa. So if you guys want to throw that on the calendar just to save your spot, it will be, we'll have tickets available as soon as I have them. I'll make sure to let this group know so you guys can make sure to secure your spot, get in the room, or at least get there virtually. So you guys can mark your calendars on that. So
That's gonna be a hell of an event. Like, I know Julian's
yeah.
excited because I mean, many of you might have been to the dominant listing agent. I know I see some familiar faces in
Mhm.
here. But so we're basically revamping that. So instead of so Alex is still gonna do his thing that everybody loves that part, right? But the other day, yeah, I see some. Yep. So the other day we're gonna switch it to like more buyer focused, right? Because I mean, a lot of us are running new construction funnel, right? So just some in depth training around some of those that how to handle those. It's gonna be I will tell you this, it's gonna be a lot more interactive. That's what Alex is focused on for this event. Cause like back in the NAEA days, I mean, we would have like you would practice with a partner right next to him, right next to you, and then all right, who wants to come up and do law number 3? All right, next new person for law number 4, and so on and so forth. So you're leaving the room like with your comprehension level is way higher, right? So anyway, we're super pumped about it and can't wait to see everybody in the room.
So you're either a clock builder or a time teller. That's really what you are. I mean, that's not like your identity or anything, but that's basically like how you run your business. You're either being a clock builder or a time teller, and what that means is you're either building systems around the things that you're doing, or you're just kind of running around and doing whatever comes next, right? And the whole point of it is what I believe. The clock builder is the winner, and the time teller is the guy who's on the clock builder's time, right? So you can only win for so long being a time teller, but the guy who builds the systems is going to be the ultimate winner. He may have not looked like the winner right here, the guy looking good, pointing at the clock. I can tell you what time it is. And then you got this guy, heads down, focused, and doesn't look, like he's necessarily winning. But over the length of time, I think you can only tell like time for so long, right? Before you're just like, man, this is hard, right? You're spending 60, 80 hours a week and you're missing out on time with your family, missing out on your kids' sports, your grandkids' games or recitals or whatever it is. And you're not living a life by strategy, you're living life on other people's time. So my goal of this call is to help you guys ultimately get more freedom and figure out like what are some levers that you guys can pull to get you your time back, because time is the most valuable asset that you have, whether you're a billionaire or you got negative dollars in the bank account, right? And everybody's got the same amount of it. So how do you leverage your time in this business? What are some things that you can do to get you more freedom with your time? And I'm going to go over some things that have worked personally in my business, some things that I've done that I feel like has given me more time, and I'm continuing to do. It's not perfect by any means, but I think, based on knowing the amount of people who have been on the calls and how many of the things that are actually executed out of the 3 things, it's like, man, like we're missing it. And so I don't want to give you guys a bunch of things to continue to do and then you just never get them done. And it just, you're not truly building the system. Even if it took you 2 to 3 weeks to get one done, but you built the system around it, it'd be worth it. Right. So pace determines progress. Here's some affirmations that I like saying, like, I am where time comes from. I have the abundance of time. I create the reality of time. I create my time. And so you're either living on Einstein time or Newton time. Which one are you living on? Einstein time means like you control your time. You are the owner of time. You are where time comes from. That's Einstein. Newton time is, you're kind of, you think of it like you're kind of on other people's time. Like you're just thinking of, you don't have the you don't have control of your time. That's kind of the two examples here. And so what I like to set up is winners control their time. That's the truth. You look at professional athletes, like they're super disciplined with their time, what they eat, all this stuff. And so what I like to do is run mini days. And so I have a mini day sprint. I run from 4 to 8, 8 to 12, and 12 to 4. Right. And so, Reese sent me a video this weekend. I was talking about it was Alex Hormozy talking about the most effective time where he gets the most important things done is in that window from the moment that you're up for like the next 4 hours. So it's like, what does that look like for you guys? And I know everybody, some people have young kids, maybe some of you guys are doing this part time. Like I know that there's so many different variables here, but what is it, how are you running little daily sprints? I promise you, a lot of days I get more done in that first 48, 4 a.m. to 8 a.m. than most people do get done all week, maybe at least in a day. But my point is like, how are you structuring your days? So live intentionally through your calendar. That's like the number one thing that you guys can do. You got to be super intentional with your guys' calendar. Don't overbook. Make sure you guys leave some gaps. That's probably one of my biggest struggles is that I don't leave gaps within my calendar. One of the things I told Reese recently is like, man, sometimes I get happy when someone cancels stuff now. Like it gives me an hour of my time back. I used to not like think of that like that way because it wasn't as busy. But now I'm just like, man, that all right, cool. Like I get an hour of my time back. And so I don't schedule like super important meetings until 10 p.m. because that morning time for me is important to get like all the things that I need to build momentum into the day, and some of the most important things need to get done in that morning window. And so I'm not scheduling important meetings until, later on. And so time block most important tasks and systems and automations, and then use for your personal and for your business. I think it's good for you to be like, okay, I got date night on this night. I got this on this night. One of the things that we actually got for Christmas, I see it over there. It's a digital calendar and it sits in our kitchen. And my wife and we plug in both of our stuff. We can see our calendars. We can see what day, Anaya has basketball and what days are practice and what days. I mean, when you got kids and you got all these different schedules, like it's good to know, like, you know, hey, I'm traveling. I'm going to Portland and Vancouver this weekend and Scottsdale and Vegas next weekend. What days am I gone? What days am I back? What does that look like? And when you're operating at a high level, you have to be in control of your time and you have to share your calendar. You have to be intentional with it. So and then review, like one of the first things I do in the morning is just review my calendar. Hey, this appointment starts at this time. Hey, I got all these things, going throughout the day. I'm not like looking at my calendar at 10 o'clock and being like, oh shoot, I forgot about that. It's like you could even look at it the day before. So like, okay, cool. I got this, and this tomorrow morning or throughout the day. Like you already know what your day is going to look like. And then don't skip calendar appointments. And if you do, have some type of accountabilities to stick to your word. So if you skip an appointment or you cancel an appointment because you overbook something, then you should have like um some type of disciplinary or accountability, like somebody like, whether it's somebody in our community, a mentor or a friend, like, hey man, I've canceled, like we have to learn how to be like men and women of our word, not just like, hey, I'm going to do this and then not do it. Especially when it comes into, you put it into your calendar, you sent the invite. Like it's just super important to be men and women of our word, especially when it comes to our business, right? And so I think, having some type of accountability, whether it's like, hey, every appointment I miss or cancel, I'm throwing 20, $50, $100 or whatever it is into this nonprofit. I know some people who do a lot more than that, but that's just an example of some things that you could be doing to be like, oh shoot, like And not that you don't want to give to the nonprofit, it's maybe just on top of what you've already done, or it's just like some type of something to have some type of accountability, and then collaborate with your spouse. So these are some tools I think to help winners control their time, and then declaring war on your focus with your time. So what controls your focus controls your life. And so the average person works 2,000 a year, 300. So if you want to make 300K in a year, some of you guys put that number in there. That's basically you divide that by 2,000, that gives you 150 bucks an hour. So this helps you guys figure out like what's your hourly worth or what you should be doing. Like what's your hour? So if you want to make $1,000,000, you should be doing $1,000 an hour, right? So for you guys, like figure out like I would do the math right now. Don't just wait, pull out your calculator and say, hey, if you want to make $500,000 this year, divide that by 2,000. And that's the amount of like, that's your hourly wage, right? And just to know what your specific hourly wage should be based on the end, like starting with the end in mind, like what you actually want to make is going to make a big difference with how you like when you're doing something, you're like, is this actually worth my time? Right. And so it comes out to be $2.50 a minute. So the average person spends about 3 hours on social media a day. And so if you 500 hours a day on social or $500 an hour on social media, like you should be basically thinking of it like this. Like, you should be if you spend 3 hours a day on social media scrolling, doom scrolling, getting stuck on something, you should be getting paid $500, right? And so I think it's really important for you guys to understand, like, okay, what are some things that I can do to not get stuck looking at my, Instagram or Facebook and just scrolling and not being intentional with it. Like, social media is a tool and you're either using the tool or getting used by it. And so I think it's really important to understand to have like boundaries around these things, right? And it doesn't, I mean, it's okay to, scroll or whatever for a little bit, but at the same time, like, is that really the best use of your time? Is it? And the short answer and the truth is no, it's not. It's really not. And so one of the apps I like to use, it's called App Blocker, and like my phone right now is blocked except for the things that I need to use in my business to be effective, right? So my socials are blocked. Basically, I mean, there's a lot of apps that are blocked on my phone. So it's called App Blocker. I'll throw it in the chat at the end. All right, cool. So basically, if you look at it in a week, you should be making $2,500 a week, 10K a month on social media, 120K a year based on the average amount of time that you're spending on social media. So if you're not making that, then you probably should readjust how you spend your time. And that's the truth. And when you get clear on what you guys want, right? So one of the first coaching calls we did was, getting clarity by asking the right questions, right? There's a great book out there by Patrick David, Knowing Your Next 5 Moves. But if you change your questions, those change your life. And I think asking the right questions around what you really want is going to get you clarity. And so you know what to say yes to and you know what to say no to. So the biggest thing on here, guys, is it takes 23 minutes and 15 seconds to recover from a distraction. So let's say that you're making phone calls to these leads that are coming in. And then all of a sudden you get distracted by some type of ding or a dong on your phone. And now all of a sudden it just takes 23 minutes. It takes 26 minutes to get into flow. So if you get distracted before that 26 minutes is up, you never actually got in the flow with what you were doing in the first place. And so now you've just completely ruined, not ruined, but you just never get into the flow of what you're supposed to be doing. And I mean and so a lot of people are like, oh, I'm just not good with my leads. I'm not good at working them or whatever. And it's probably because you're too freaking darn distracted and you need to stay hyper focused on the one thing that's going to make everything else significantly easier. But you also need to stay focused on what you're doing. And so I'm going to show you guys what I do to make sure that with whatever I'm doing, whether it's calling leads, creating content, building out my newsletter. It doesn't matter what you're doing, but that's like you're focused on that thing and you're not letting other distractions of even calls. Like a call could be a distraction if it's not the right call. My mom could call me, my brother could call me, someone could call me other than maybe like my wife, and it could be a distraction from what I need to be doing in the moment. And so you just need to be super disciplined with your time and you need to control your time and not be controlled by other people's time. That's the point of that. And this just shows you you never get into flow of what you're supposed to be doing. So here's how I like to execute controlling my time with what I'm doing. So it's called a 45-minute blitz. And then I have a 5-minute break, whether it's a walk, I'll do some push-ups, walk around, and then I'll do another 45-minute blitz. So let's say that, for example, that you guys wanted to focus on working the leads in the pipeline, all these new construction leads that you're getting. What you would do is you would schedule it. You would schedule the time that you're supposed to work the leads. You got to figure out what your HLA is, high leverage activity, IPA is like the beer, increasing profit activity. What are the things that you should be doing that are going to make you the most money? What are the things that are worth $150 an hour, $500 an hour, $1,000 an hour, whatever you want to make in the end of the year? Like, what are those things? And then are they scheduled in your calendar? And are they built into these 45-minute blitzes where it's a 45-minute blitz, you take 5 minutes and then you do another 45-minute blitz. So it's 90 minutes. I'll get more done in 90 minutes than most people do in a day because of these things. So make others aware of them. So if you're working at home or in the office, it's like, hey, I'm not like, do not bother me during this time. Avoid your phone, or if you need your phone, just focus on like use the app blocker and get rid of all the other distractions. Close your door, right? Close the windows. And I'm not talking about the windows, of your house. I'm talking about all the freaking 50 windows that most of you guys have up right now on your computer, because that's the truth. Agents are running around with their heads cut off because they're not clear on what they need to do. And they got 20 tabs open, 30 tabs open. Have 1 to 2 to 3 tabs open that are going to be the tabs that you need open to get stuff done. And then here's the biggest thing, guys, is being able to put something on the shelf. Put it on the shelf, put that task away, and be done with it so you can move to the next thing. Even if it's like before you go into the house to meet your see your family, have dinner. A lot of times like real estate agents, entrepreneurs, they're taking home all the other things. They're thinking about their deal, they're thinking about their timelines, they're thinking about all the things they need to do, but you need to be able to put things on the shelf. Because if you can't, then you're going to carry it into your marriage, carry it into your relationship with your kids, carry it into all these other things. And you got to be able to not do that, right? Because Jim Rome has a great quote. He's like, basically, you're thinking about work when you should be enjoying the beach, and when you're at the beach, you're thinking about work. And so it's like you need to be focused on where you're at. And you need to be able to put things on the shelf so that you can go enjoy your family and then pick it back up off the shelf. But you can't do that if you're not disciplined with your time. If you know, like, hey, yeah, I didn't get through all my calls, in my 90-minute blitz, but I know that I have another 90-minute blitz tomorrow, and I got 2 90-minute blitzes on Thursday. Like, you just know in your calendar it's there, so you can pick it back up and run with it. So this is how I create my content. When I create YouTube videos, it is not just like, hey, let me go shoot some videos for the day and randomly do it. It's like, no, I spend, half a day planning the content, and then I'll spend 6 to 8 hours go shooting that content all in one day, or splitting it up into 2 days. And it's batch content creating, and I will crush it because you get into that creative flow. You get into flow, right? And it's the same thing with working your leads. It's the same thing with anything. If you want to be productive, you got to be disciplined with your time. You got to work in these 45-minute blitzes. And if you don't, you're going to be controlled by other people's time. So here's a calendar that I got a hold of when I first got into the business. I went to an EXP con, and Don Hobbs actually had this calendar up on the screen. I screenshotted it and I used it the first year of my business, and it helped me a lot. Momentum building in the mornings, creating momentum, building momentum, whether that's a workout for you guys or whatever that is for you, right? Like, what is it that's going to help you be able to get, and for me, like, what my morning, on my YouTube channel, you can go watch it. I recorded my whole morning. You can go watch exactly what I do. I have an affirmations. I'll read my Bible. I'll write down what I hear from God. I'll write down our identity things. I'll speak out like truths about myself. I'll do a workout. I intermittent fast, so I don't necessarily start eating until 10 or 12, depending on the day. And I'll make sure I spend time with my kids, like this morning, around 7, I had my youngest and my oldest sitting on my lap, just, I just got to hold them. Right. And that's part of my morning ritual, right? It's part of my morning routine, and it's building momentum in the day. Right. And then you look at your prospecting, like, okay, where are my prospecting hit, 8 to 9:30. What is that? That's a 90-minute blitz. Okay. And then you go into flex time, voicemail, text messages. Like, look, if you respond to voicemails and text messages every single time you get them, like that is so distracting, right? If you have a lead coming in, I understand, but like at the same time, like if you have the right system set up, they should know that they're going to get a call from you. Like, I hear some people's voicemails saying like, hey, I return calls at this time and this time every single day. So if you're calling after 5 o'clock, you're not going to get a call back from me until this time. honestly, a lot of people, like, those are just people who control their time, and other people who respect their time are also going to respect that. Like, they're going to expect a callback from at that time. And so I think it's super important to just, have those pieces put in, right? And then holding time for client appointments in the afternoon. So these are great content creations on Tuesday from 8 to 10:30, right? This is mine looks very little bit different now based on just where my focus is in my business, but this is a really good template, and the whole point of this is that this it's being calendar blocked. Like, there is blocks of time scheduled in his calendar, in our calendars. And there's also some white space. Like, you need a little bit of white space. Maybe there should be a little more, a little less. But regardless of it, you got to have time blocked in your calendar. There's got to be consistency with it. You look at, the evening, you look, he returns calls and texts at 4:30 and he does daily planning at 5, right? After hour clients 6 to 8, he does those on Tuesdays and Thursdays, right? If you want to be a high producer, if you want to do 5K a year, you want to make $1 million, like, even if you wanted to make 100K, like, you got to be disciplined with your time, right? So I know some of you guys are already probably crushing this. I know some of you guys, this is really good for you. I know some of you guys are like, man, getting uncomfortable. But that's probably a good thing. Okay. So you guys have all seen this, but this is the 8 stages of the real estate business, right? So this kind of shows where you're at in your business based on your volume. And this is going to show you some of the bottlenecks that you're experiencing. So for those who are doing, 26 to 48 deals, you're kind of that solopreneur. Maybe you have one assistant, but it feels like you're on the roller coaster ride of, yeah, I have business. No, I don't. And so, but we find a lot of agents here kind of stuck, right? Their biggest problems is marketing and the sales process, right? And so this is basically what we teach. We teach you how to have a true marketing system and then a sales process on how to actually take people through the entire sales process. Getting an admin assistant is going to be really important. But as you go into that, having 2 and 4 people on your team, like, you need to have a listing manager. You need to make sure, like, I got a TC after my second deal. I was like, man, that is not the best use of my time. So if you're a real estate agent and you're still doing TC work, I don't care if you're a brand new real estate agent, you should not be doing TC work. That is not the best use of your time. And that's just the truth. And no one's ever going to do it as good as you. No one's ever going to do it as pretty as you. Like, all the stuff, I get it. But the truth is, it's just not the best. Like, think of it like this: would you rather be doing TC work, or would you rather be sitting there watching your kid play the sports game, not have to worry about, your transaction? Like, it's just a no brainer to me, right? If it's not to you, then maybe I understand, like, those things have to get done. But I've also heard it is when you hire somebody that's maybe 70% as good as you, and then you hire 2 people that are 70% as good as you, now it's 140%, and that's 40% better than you, right? So it's important, guys, to be able to figure out how to leverage your time, where your bottlenecks, all that kind of stuff. So you guys can screenshot this or ask for it and we can send it to you later. But this kind of shows you where your bottlenecks are and what's going to allow you to kind of be effective with your time. And as you grow as an agent, what are some of the bottlenecks that you're going to experience? What are some of the things that you should be doing? So this right here, this is important, guys, right? So this shows you your low leverage, mid leverage, and high leverage activity. If you were to print this off and figure out, what are some of the things that I can hire? What are some of the things that I can delegate? What are the pieces, like, that I could do to get some of this stuff off my plate, right? Like, never, based on where you're at and where you're trying to accomplish, like, you should have a goal of, like, hey, by the end of Q1, I want to make sure that I get a listing coordinator. I want to make sure that I have a closing coordinator to be able to take some of this stuff off my plate. I want to have a buyer's agent by the end of Q2 because I have so many leads coming on that I shouldn't be handling these. I should just be focused on the listings, kneecap to kneecap. When Michael Reese did 363 deals, when Jay Kinder did 500 deals, they were focused on listings. And that's just your highest leveraged activity. It's just the truth. And so, and I understand buyers are good and people want buyers, and right now, based on the market and all these different things. But the truth is every listing you have, you should be able to attract at least 2 to 3 buyers. So, I mean, listings is just the bait. Okay. So with that said, I would print this off. I would take a picture of it and I would figure out what are the things that I need to hire in the next quarter, Q2, Q3, Q4, to be able to give me some of my time back, right? For some of you guys, your transaction coordinators could potentially transition into a closing coordinator or even a listing coordinator. Is the best use of your time putting the listing description in the MLS? Heck no, it is not. It's just not. It's not. There's no other way about it. Putting the listing on the MLS is not the best use of your time, period. Following up with active listings, maybe. But if you had somebody that you were co-listed with that could call them and spend more and like be more intentional with them, like maybe, I mean, maybe you at least build a system around it. Okay. Call your active listings every Friday from 9 to whatever. Like that would be a system. At least you built it in so you wouldn't like list it and then never talk to them again. Right. So what are some of the things in here that you can build? Be a clock builder, not a time teller. What are some of the things in here that you can delegate, empower? What are some of the things that you can build a system around and not be kind of stuck trying to do everything? Because that's not good. Real estate agents wear 12 and 15 and 20 hats because no one teaches them better, number one. And number two is that you think you have to. You don't. Like, this isn't a business where you just have to live a miserable life. Like, this is a business where there's a lot of freedom, but unless you understand how to how to control your time, then you're going to be on other people's time, and that sucks. Print this off, figure out what are some of the things that I can delegate, I can empower, I can have AI do. Oh, I know for like inside sales assistant, something I'm going to be working on into, I wouldn't say now, but let's say, over the next 90 days starting in mid-February is I wanna really build out, an ISA, like, voice agent, and because I think that would be a major use of my time, because if I can duplicate all the things that I've been able to do with recordings of conversations on the phone and put that into an agent that can do it 70% as good as me, 80% as good as me, and now I have 2 of them, right? Or 3 of them or 4 of them, like, that's a game changer, absolute game changer, and so you figuring out, like, okay, between AI, between virtual assistants, between just building a system around it, what can I do on this list, and how do I get these things off my plate, period, right? So I can focus on the highest leverage activity. Alright, so there's a great book out there, I actually have it right here, it's called Buy Back Your Time. Great book by Dan Martell. Highly suggest you guys read it. Number two, figuring out how to get a VA to delegate some of these things that you need to not do that are important to get done, but maybe they're not the best use of your time. If you guys are interested in a VA, what you could do is just throw in the chat VA and I'll make sure to connect you to 2 companies that I refer all the time. And if that's something you guys want, great. And you guys can go through the interview and figure out who's the best, all that kind of stuff. And then here's the 15-minute test. So I challenge you guys over the next week is to set your calendar. And this is what top CEOs do, top entrepreneurs. And you are the true CEO of your business. That's the truth. And even if it's just you, even if you're just getting started, you're still the CEO of your business. And so I encourage you guys to set your a clock on your calendar and or not on your calendar, but just on your phone. And you can set up a timer to go off every 15 minutes. And then you just have a spreadsheet open and you put down every activity that you're doing that 15 minutes, even if it's the same one. You just put it down, you put it down. At the end of the week or at the end of the day, you start to highlight all the things that you should not be doing. And you categorize it into you can even throw it in the chat GPT and be like, hey, based on all the things that I'm currently doing and based on where I want to be, what is a good hire? What is a good position that I could hire to get a lot of these things off my plate? And it's going to give you that person. It could be a executive assistant. It could be I mean, there's so many different things it could be, but the point of it is that we need to be learning how to delegate, empower. And a lot of times people have done VAs and they're like, oh, it doesn't work. And they weren't good. It always falls back on the leader. That's the truth. That's the hard gut wrenching truth. Like you probably have never had an employee. You probably never hired them in the right way. You probably didn't even have them sign anything. You probably didn't, go through a true interview process. You never had expectations. You never had, I mean, there's just so many things, and it's not your fault. You just weren't taught it. If you guys are looking to hire VAs, those who put VA in there, I'll go ahead and share with you. I know I shared it with Deb, but I shared my hiring process on how and I used to not have one, right? But is now I have a hiring process and how I hire internally. And I will never hire anybody without going through the process because you're wasting a ton of time. So I challenge you guys with that. The 15-minute test for the entire week, write down or put in the CSV, folder or whatever, and just put in everything that you're doing every 15 minutes. At the end of the day, look at what you're doing, highlight what you should not be doing, what's not worth $150 an hour, what's not worth $300 an hour or whatever that is, that cost is for you. And then how do you eventually put that into a place where you could hire somebody to take those things on? I think that's all I have for you guys, but I'm happy to take some questions. And I'm passionate about this because I see so many agents not have their time and it sucks. So, I got 4 minutes for questions. What you guys got?
There's some in the chat too, Kyle.
Yeah. Okay.
Fun because I don't know. I'm trying to still get my funnel up and running, and I try to go to make an appointment, and there's not one available till February. And I hate to wait till February to get my funnel up and running. And I've been back and forth with information, online chat or online help, and I'm not getting anywhere. So maybe you can direct me to
Yeah,
some.
Dana, great question. So I would just send a message to support, and this isn't really a place for that call, but
I
I'll
know
help
that,
you.
but I'm trying to find out where because I'm not getting any. I mean,
Yeah. So
Do you know about office hours?
yeah, they're from 12 to 1 every day, correct?
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, jump
You
on office hours.
come in there tomorrow. I'll help you out.
Thank you.
Jimmy will help you. Yeah, thank you. All right. Cool. Oh, VA, a lot of people want VA stuff. I'll go through that. Which calendar system do you use? I just use a Google Calendar. As far as like when I'm setting up, I connect it to attract ROI. So when like people like agents or clients book stuff into my calendar, it'll basically, it's all connected within attract ROI. So there's that for sure. But I use Google Calendar. Were we gonna learn about pixels today? No, Hector. We're not gonna learn about pixels today. That was last week. I can send you the recordings from last week. Can I please share the files you presented? Yeah, I guess I could do that. Can you get a copy of my presentation? Was it that good, guys? I didn't think it was that good. I'll share my presentation. Copy link, allow view access.
Yeah, it seems like a lot of people want the previous calls.
Yeah. Okay, cool.
We should make
All right,
like
let me do this.
LMS and have all the calls in there, huh?
Yeah, that would probably make more sense. There are currently no participants. No, that's everyone. Okay.
All right,
All
I
right.
got a
There's
call.
this. There's yeah.
I'll catch y'all next
Cool.
time.
Yeah, I gotta jump.
Have a good week.
Appreciate it, Jimmy.
Bye, Jimmy.
I gotta jump here in a minute. There's the slides, guys, and then as far as the coaching calls, I'm gonna put them into one spot so that you guys can go into there and grab them. So for those who wanted to do like the pixels and all that kind of stuff, which was last week's call, so I'll make sure to get you guys that. If you guys want to know how to set up your pixel, it's in Attract ROI right now. So if you go to Digital President Academy and you guys go to Attract ROI for beginners, it's like the 5th video down and it shows you step by step on how to set up your pixel. It takes like 15 minutes. So that's the best place to do that.
Hey, Kyle, where is the one spot are you going to put all the calls, the recorded calls again? Is it going to be in a track?
I gotta build it out. I have it in a folder. I guess I could drop the folder for you guys, but I'm gonna put it into a place that I think would be beneficial.
Oh, okay. And then you'll
Um,
send us like an email or something to let us know where you put it?
Correct.
Okay, cool. Thank you.
All right. Coaching notes, share. So these coaching notes aren't super organized, but the recordings are on the coaching notes and you guys can check those out. So, and my goal is to put it into a folder so it's cleaner for everybody. Awesome. And I'll go back through and see all the people who commented VA and I'll make sure to get you guys connected to the companies that I like to do, that I use VAs from. Cool. All right, guys.
Said you're
Appreciate
dropping
it.
a link about the VAs. Is that what you said? I'm sorry, I missed what you said about the VAs.
Oh yeah, for those who commented VA, I'll make sure to go back through all the comments and send you guys a message in the next 48 hours about the two. I'll just connect you to the 2 VA companies that I work with.
Okay, cool. Thanks, Kyle.
Yeah, cool.
Thanks, Kyle.
All right, guys. Absolutely appreciate you guys. We'll talk to you guys soon. Bye.
Okay, bye.